All right, Matt, let's get to the main topic of the week. Obviously, the joint practice was, the biggest actual news in regards to the team, but it was not the biggest news in regards to everyone's thoughts and opinions of the fan base, at least on Twitter for what we've seen over the last couple of weeks and days. And that has been the discussion over Zach Wilson. Obviously, the Jets and Jets fans are very hopeful for this coming season, and rightfully so. They had a great draft. They had a great free agency period. Their coaching staff seems to be heading in the right direction. There's continuity, explosive playmakers all over on both sides of the ball now. And so you're sitting looking specifically at this offense, and you're seeing all of this talent now that they haven't had before. You're going to have a year two Elijah Moore, like we talked about, Garrett Wilson as well, who I mentioned. You got Breece Hall in the backfield now, who's an explosive, dynamic home run hitter to go with those two other guys at receiver that can take the top off people. You got Michael Carter still. The tight end room has been completely rechanged. We have an improved offensive line where every spot should be filled with a guy we're expecting to be at least top half in the league at their position. This is a really good offense on paper. And the one thing that really might get in the way of that could be Zach Wilson in year two and how he progresses. So, Matt, I really want to hear your opinion. What did you think of just the discourse in general and kind of how it started? And what are your personal opinions on Zach and how he can grow?
Well, I guess it all started with who was it? Brady Quinn, I guess.
Yep.
Was saying that he really doesn't like Zach, and he sees us maybe going over before the bye. And yeah, I've seen some other people say this, like, yeah, if you don't like Zach, yeah, it's very easy to see us to do very poorly in the first half of the season. But if you're a fan of Zach, then yeah, it's a lot easier to see us winning 3 or 4 games and going into the weaker portion of the season with some wins under our belt. So I think there is a disconnect with, and there usually is in the offseason around this time. Every team's fans are really excited, usually. They feel like they've made some great improvements and everything is pointing up. Nothing can go wrong. But the thing is, things usually go wrong. Things don't always look as they seem in the offseason. Even though, yeah, everything you mentioned there that we improved, offensive line, weapons, everything around him has really improved. But at the same time, that doesn't mean he will improve. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to regress or anything like that. Maybe he just stays the same, stays inconsistent. And if that happens, his progress will struggle. His production will struggle. And it might keep us off out of the win column. Not saying this will happen. I am very hopeful that he will take a step in the right direction, but it is far from guaranteed. And I just like to prepare people for these things, where the possibility of him not improving to the point where everybody sees him, right? I feel like everybody's looking at him. Yep. They've already anointed him the savior, and they think that no wrong can happen this year. But that's never the case, and with Zach included. So I always like to praise caution in these situations, because as Jets fans, we've seen way too much. We've felt too much pain over the years, getting too excited about something and then having it come crashing down around us. So I've abandoned, I haven't abandoned hope, but I've abandoned the notion that everything's going to be peachy keen because of something great that's happened in the off season.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Obviously, like I was saying earlier, it's the time of optimism. It's the time of blinded hope, quite honestly. And when you have such a good offseason like the Jets did, there's reason to be hopeful. There absolutely is reason to expect growth from Zach Wilson and look at all the things around him and say, how could he not perform? But you were alluding to it, and you're 100% right. He himself still has to improve. And so I think this is going to be a situation where it'll be really easy, for me at least, to tell whether Zach Wilson is making the next step or not. And for me, it's as simple as Is the team carrying him and pulling him along? Or is he helping to lead the team, dig them out of holes if they get into it, and maximize all of this talent around him? The guys over on the Move the Sticks podcast, Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks, have said for years, then talking about quarterbacks, are you a truck or a trailer? Meaning, are you having to be pulled or are you doing the pulling? To me, that's exactly what this next season is going to be about. And maybe I'm alone on this. Maybe I'm in the minority because I've seen the get too high of Jets fans and hope for the future. But until Zach Wilson proves that he can maximize all of this talent, I'm waiting to see it. I'm not at a point where I'm sitting here 100% convinced that he's going to be the future and everything is going to work out and the Jets are going to have, a Super Bowl under their belt within a couple of years and Zach will be leading the team. That would be fantastic. I'd love every second of that. But I don't know if I've seen enough out of him right now to say, oh, yes, for sure, that is going to be the case. But I'm hopeful. I like the improvements that we've made. I think he's going to have more help around him. And I do think that did affect him and make things more difficult for him last year. I also think being a rookie is just difficult. And you're learning a new offense. You're gelling with new coaches. You're in a new place. All the different things that come with being a rookie, that is going to be gone. And so for me, that should be an improvement, but it's also, that's an expectation now. You don't have the rookie excuses anymore. You don't have it's a new playbook, or I'm still getting used to the receivers, or a new area adjusting to the speed of the game. That's all gone for me. So I want to see a command of this offense. I want to see the comfortability that I saw at BYU in him that I really, really liked about him. And that regardless of what was going on around him, he was calm, functional. His brain was always working, and he never had that Sam Darnold stare. You know what I'm talking about, Matt? Seeing ghosts, or where you could literally watch him in the middle of a drop back processing what's going on and just coming up with just a monkey clanging cymbals. I didn't see any of that out of Zach at BYU. And you saw some of it in his first couple of games in the pros, and we really didn't see any of it towards the end of the year. So going into this season, stay in command of the offense, don't look like a deer in the headlights, maximize the talent around you, and don't be the reason the team is held back. I think it's pretty simple as that. If the Jets are not a very good team this coming season, it's probably because Zach Wilson didn't take the next step and he's holding them back, because they have a boatload of talent. They have quality players up and down the roster in key positions and less than key positions. This is a good team. This team is ready to start winning now. And if their quarterback isn't, they may not be able to wait.
Yeah. I look at it like this. I think that we can win if he's a trailer and not a truck. But I don't think we can really go far if he stays like that. Yeah. I think towards the end of last year, he showed that he can be a trailer and also not be the reason why we're losing. He, from his early games with a touchdown to interception ratio of 4 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Later in the season, it was 5 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So he's shown that he can improve his ball security. But just that's probably about the biggest shift when it comes to his numbers from the early part of the season to the end. And I feel like a lot of people feel like there was notable improvement elsewhere when there really wasn't. His accuracy was pretty much the same. His yards per game got worse. Yep. And a lot of that also has to do with the talent around him, of course. But it's not, again, it's just something we haven't seen yet. And if we haven't seen it, then we shouldn't be banking on it. But the being able to take care of the ball, that's one thing that I think should be very valuable going into this year, where he won't be the reason why we're losing. But that's also because of how they were using him then. They weren't really asking him to attack downfield. He was asked to work on his short game, and he did notably improve on his short game. Before his injury, I believe He's bouncing passes multiple times every game. I think he cut that down as the season went on after he came back from his injury. So just getting the short game, taking what's offered to him by the defense, will go a long way in protecting the ball and just being an efficient quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really important aspect of the game because you want to keep your offense on schedule. You want to limit turnovers is the biggest number one aspect of that is not giving the other team the ball back and taking an opportunity away from your offense. This is the thing for me, though. You were talking about his numbers and how we saw an improvement of Zach Wilson overall in our heads. We thought he was more accurate. We thought he was more decisive. We thought he was making better decisions. He wasn't being as uncomfortable. He wasn't having those moments of I don't know what to do. And in a lot of times he was. And his touchdown to interception ratio is definitely a big reflection of that. But you know what that also says to me, Matt? That says he was trying to be a game manager.
Yep.
That says that he was trying to be not too aggressive, that he was trying to very much stay in control of the game and not lose the game for them. He didn't go out and win it, but he wasn't going to be the reason they lost. I want to see Zach Wilson go out and win some games. I want to see Zach Wilson be aggressive, be the explosive downfield vertical passer that he was at BYU that made him the second overall pick in the draft. The Jets didn't draft him to throw checkdowns. The Jets didn't draft him to throw 5-yard stick routes to CJ Uzama 17 times a game. They drafted him to be an explosive, dangerous, serious threat of a quarterback among guys like an Aaron Rodgers or a Pat Mahomes or a Josh Allen or to a lesser extent, a Lamar Jackson, where those mobile, strong-armed guys that can make a play from anywhere on the field and force you as a defense to defend every blade of grass. We haven't seen that ability outside of one game for him, and it was the Tennessee game. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of BYU Zach Wilson. I don't want to just see game manager Zach Wilson. I want to see him take over games. I want to see him be aggressive, use his talent, and not have that end in interceptions or not have that end in punts. Let's use all this talent this guy has and let's make something out of it. Because if Zach Wilson's only way to succeed is to being a game manager, the Jets are going to have a new quarterback in a couple of years.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. If all we wanted was a game manager, we probably could have had Sam Darnold with this offense.
Could have took Mac Jones too.
Could have taken Mac Jones, and we would have been probably in the same spot. So yeah, I agree. We need more from him because it might be enough to win 8 to 9 games a year, maybe make it into the playoffs. But will it get us where we want, which is a Super Bowl? Probably not. Not when you have to go against the gods of the AFC. All these incredible super quarterbacks that are floating around this conference. It's a minefield of talent that we need to make our way through. And the only way you fight fire is with fire. And Zach needs to find that fire.
I 100% agree. I genuinely, deep down in my heart, think that he will improve. I'm trying not to have any rose-colored glasses or be blinded in optimism, just looking at it as objectively as I can. This is the first time I can't even remember when a Jets quarterback who had an offensive coordinator as a rookie is going to have that same offense coordinator in his second year. I think that is hugely, hugely important that he is not going to having to be learning another new offense, that he's just going to continue to build on what he already knows. And things are going to start to become second nature for him. I think that's really going to help with his comfortability and help allow him to become that BYU Zach Wilson that he was, where if he's comfortable in his scheme, he's comfortable in his offense, he's not having to think about where his guys are going to be or what play he's going to be calling or the verbiage or anything like that. And he can just go out and play. That's when he's at his best. When he is just in the zone and he is able to just see what's happening in front of him and react more so than think, that's the best Zach Wilson you can get. So I really hope that continuity is going to be a big help. The improvement with the offense around him, offensive line, tight ends, receivers, running backs, every single spot on this offense got better. to help Zach Wilson this offseason. So I'm hopeful. And even if he doesn't take a massive, massive leap, I think he will take enough of a leap for the Jets to be competitive. And at the end of the day, I don't think Zach Wilson is going to be the reason the Jets don't win games this year, at least not over and over and over and over. I really don't think he is going to hold them back to the point of needing to be talked about like he's holding them back.
Agreed. Yep. Hopeful, but cautious.